Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. The trial for accused Fort Hood shooter Nidal Hasan is moving forward with emotional eyewitness testimony. That came after the judge denied his backup attorney's request to be excused, instead giving them special instructions. A firm rebuke for Major Nidal Hasan's standby defense team. Presiding Judge Colonel Tara Osborne told the attorneys to get back to work. They want to replace Hasan, who's acting as his own defense attorney, saying he's trying to get himself executed. When they argued against the judge's decision, calling it a violation of their professional ethics, Osborne said, quote, "I will make it easy for you. I've given you an order, and that relieves you of every ethical liability." The lawyers plan to appeal that ruling. Meanwhile, testimony has resumed. Eyewitnesses taking to the stand described the chaos of the 2009 shooting rampage. Nurse Sergeant Inga Campbell discovered Staff Sergeant Justin DeCrow dead. She had just finished helping him get a medical waiver so he could deploy. Campbell described the scene to the jury saying, quote, "I just saw blood. He was out. I just couldn't. There was no breath." Another eyewitness said she heard Private Francesca Velez pleading with Hasan. Velez had discovered she was pregnant while on deployment and was at the Readiness Center to process out when Hasan started shooting. She said Velez stared Hasan in the eyes, begging, "My baby, my baby." Then there was a shot, and her voice stopped. Sergeant First Class Maria Guerrera described what she saw in the moments after the shooting, her voice breaking as she told prosecutors, I see bodies everywhere, and I see blood. No one is moving. There was no movement. There was no sound. So I yelled out, 'Is everybody okay?' I started hearing, 'Help me, I'm bleeding, I've been shot, help me.'" Hasan remained silent while in court. He avoided eye contact and only objected once to testimony. He's yet to ask a single question. And this trial is expected to take weeks, possibly months. More emotional testimony is still to come as many of the more than 30 wounded take the witness stand.
The U.S. has escalated its drone war in Yemen, killing 12 terror suspects in 3 strikes Thursday. That is 34 al-Qaeda suspects killed by drones in less than 2 weeks. The action comes amid ongoing global terror alerts. This week, the U.S. and Britain evacuated diplomatic staff from Yemen's capital after learning of a threatened attack. 19 diplomatic posts in the Middle East and Africa have temporarily closed, and the State Department is now urging Americans not to travel to Pakistan. Non-essential personnel in Lahore were ordered to evacuate due to a specific threat. Officials say al-Qaeda may be getting help from the nearly 2,000 prisoners who recently escaped from jail in Iraq, Libya, and Pakistan.
It's prudent to protect lives, and it's certainly important to keep the terrorists from being able to carry out a truly devastating attack.
It's possible they could be suicide bombers. It's possible they could become combatants. Some of them may have capabilities in terms of bomb making, which is always of concern.
Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia has arrested 2 foreigners who have ties to al-Qaeda in Yemen. Saudi police say they were plotting imminent suicide attacks in the region.
Widespread flooding has wreaked havoc across at least 12 states. Rescue and cleanup continue across Tennessee after deadly flash floods left survivors stranded on rooftops. More than 7 inches of rain fell in just 3 hours in parts of the state. And in Madison, firefighters rescued a sleeping 5-week-old baby from her family's attic. They had taken shelter there to escape the water rapidly rising into their homes. You could hear the shock in the father's voice.
Next thing you know, we're in the attic trying to get the babies upstairs. It's hard. It's scary. You don't know what the water's going to do. So just lose it all.
In South Central Missouri, rescue teams search for a 23-year-old whose car was swept up in a flash flood Tuesday. The floods have claimed the lives of at least 1 woman and 1 child.
Members of Congress and their staff will still get financial aid from the government to help pay for any new health care plans under Obamacare. The government has paid for a majority of health care premiums for Congress and their staff in the past. But a statute in the Obamacare law said they had to buy their health care plans through the new insurance exchanges. That would have meant a huge increase in costs. But new guidelines from the Office of Personnel Management will let the members and their staff keep their financial aid from the government.
Though members of Congress are on summer break, many are expected to get an earful about Obamacare back in their home districts. Opponents are ramping up a nationwide campaign to defund Obamacare as an October budget deadline approaches. Our Gary Lane has more.
A new anti-Obamacare television ad campaign is coming soon to American living rooms. This one is sponsored by a group called the Young Guns Network, featuring a group of ad execs trying to figure out how to sell Obamacare to Americans.
I'm looking for ideas. You. What about the research?
Most recent surveys show that most Americans oppose it, and unions realize it will shatter their benefits.
We're supposed to sell this junk?
Can we change the name?
Like?
Obama-Rama.
No.
Health Fund.
No.
Fun care. I like fun care.
No.
People like free. Mash them together. Free health care. Get it?
I think you nailed it. Look.
Not buying it, the commercial asks? Apparently so, according to one recent poll. 66% of likely voters agree that Congress should defund the Affordable Care Act. 26% disagree. 86% of Republicans surveyed said it should be defunded. 48% of Democrats. And even a Washington Post ABC News poll found that moderate Democrats are starting to turn against Obamacare. Only 46% support it today, compared to 57% last year. Meanwhile, FreedomWorks is launching a campaign urging supporters to burn their Obamacare card. But Obamacare opponents aren't the only ones trying to rally their forces. Organizing for Action, formerly part of President Obama's presidential campaign, is spending more than $1 million on a campaign defending Obamacare.
What's the impact of Obamacare? The truth is, Americans are already seeing the benefits. She's seeing more seniors for free wellness visits. He received a $150 rebate from his health insurance company. And next year, she can expand her small business thanks to tax credits that cover up to half of her workers' health insurance.
But critics say small businesses are already reducing worker hours to avoid providing them with costly insurance. They say this means Obamacare will create a part-time American labor force. Only 9 legislative days will remain once Congress returns from recess. So passing a new budget by October 1st may be unlikely. Most Capitol Hill observers expect a vote on another continuing resolution to keep the federal government running and Obamacare temporarily funded. Gary Lane, CBN News.
A gay British couple is suing the Church of England so they can get married in an Anglican church. The United Kingdom's new same-sex marriage law forbids the Church of England from performing same-sex weddings, and it says other churches are not required to perform them. But the couple say they want to get married in their church, the Church of England, and the only way to make that happen is by a lawsuit.
An acid attack on 2 British school teachers in Zanzibar. The victims are volunteer teachers at a school affiliated with the Anglican Church. Zanzibar is an East African island that is part of Tanzania. Police say attackers on a motorcycle threw acid on the women's faces and arms as they were walking in a tourist area. They're receiving treatment at a hospital in Dar es Salaam. This is the 3rd acid attack in Tanzania in the past year. The country has recently seen an increase in Muslim attacks on Christians.
16 Egyptian rights groups are warning that more violence is about to erupt against Egypt's Christians. Islamists in southern Egypt are stirring up anger against the Christian community with charges that its leaders helped engineer Mohammed Morsi's downfall. Recently, 10,000 Islamists in the city of Asyut marched through a Christian neighborhood chanting pro-Islamist slogans. They also defaced churches with spray-painted messages, including one calling Coptic Pope Tadros a dog. The human rights groups are calling on Egyptian authorities to protect the country's Christian minority.
A famous World War II battle that turned the tide for allies in North Africa also helped save Jews in the Middle East.
That's right. As John Waggy reports, this little-known fact is revealed in a recently released book.
Egypt, 1942, the Battle of El Alamein. British General Bernard Montgomery's Allied forces stopped the Nazi advance in Egypt and North Africa. While that's the headline in history, Kelvin Crombie's book, El Alamein, Halting a Possible Holocaust in the Middle East, tells how God used that battle to save Jewish people.
Soldiers from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, India, and Britain halted the combined army coming from Germany and Italy. But really it's a story of a much bigger dimension than just a military conflict.
Waiting behind the German troops was a specialized murder squad used by the SS.
One of the groups, the Einsatzkommando Egypt, was sent to North Africa to go in behind the German forces and to begin to annihilate, to kill, to murder Jewish people who lived in Egypt and Palestine.
At the same time, certain Arab leaders, such as Haj Amin al-Husseini, the Mufti of Jerusalem, also wanted to get rid of the Jewish people.
It was fulfilling Hitler's desire, which was to destroy all the Jewish people, and at the same time, it would also fulfill the desires of Haj Amin and other Arab nationalists, which was to destroy the Jewish national home in the land of Israel.
The victory at El Alamein prevented that desire, and the Jewish leadership there recognized the significance.
They just knew deep down what awaited them as Jewish people in Palestine of the time if the German-led army won.
They showed their deep appreciation with a special gift to Montgomery.
And the Jewish leadership itself in the land of Israel, at the conclusion of the Battle of El Alamein at some time, they presented the British commander, Field Marshal Montgomery, a gift of gratitude. It was a Bible, and with it were these words: to Field Marshal Viscount Montgomery, the gallant leader of the victorious British forces, by whose hand God has placed salvation in Zion in the days of El Alamein. So they understood the significance.
Crombie came across the Bible stored in a cupboard in England and brought it to Israel, where it's displayed at Christ Church in Jerusalem's Old City.
For them it was just a Bible. But having lived here and having interviewed and spoken to so many people, I was very, very aware of the significance, the historical and contemporary significance of that Bible.
Crombie says it's important for Christians to remember history.
It's another part of the jigsaw puzzle, how Gentile Christians and Gentile nations, imperfect as they were, not even saying that they were Bible believers, understood the scriptures, but somehow in God's sovereign purposes, He still used them to bring about the fulfillment of His wonderful purposes.
John Waggy, CBN News.
Coming up, Elysium, Percy Jackson, and Planes will take a closer look at the box office in search of films that might be a good fit for your family.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes now.
The weekend is here, and that means it is time for our regular movie reviews with Bob Waliszewski. He's director of Focus on the Family's entertainment review department called Plugged In Online. So, Bob, let's start with Matt Damon's new film, Elysium. Tell us about it.
Well, it's R-rated, first of all, which always tells our listeners that it probably is out of bounds, and this one for sure. But I want to say, with some editing, this could have easily been a PG-13 film, probably even a PG film. And it has a great heart at its core. The year is 2159. Essentially, the very, very wealthy have built a space station called Elysium, where it's paradise. People get healed in healing machines, and most of the world still lives on a very devastated Earth and would love to get healed when they're sick, would love to have a chance to get up there and live there. But the language, there's like over 60 F-bombs. The violence is incredibly intense in a few scenes. Can't recommend this one.
All righty. Well, Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters looks like a very intense family flick. What did you think?
You know, like the first Percy Jackson, my issue with this film, like it was with Harry Potter, is the worldview in which it's set. Now, Percy is a demigod. His dad was Poseidon and his mom was human. So he's half God, half human. And in this world, we have a pantheon of gods. Yes, they've got a noble task, he and his demigod friends, to find this fleece that's in the Bermuda Triangle that they call the Sea of Monsters. And there's a lot of things that I like here as well. But I wrestle with this whole worldview, especially at one point when someone makes a quip about Jesus and says in a non-quipping way that he was a God, not God, the third person of the Trinity, but in this worldview, one would have to say another Zeus type, another Hades type, another Poseidon type, which bit of a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, deal breaker for me too. Well, the one my kids can't stop talking about, Planes, is the new animation from Disney. Looks like a winner for the families. What do you think?
It is, and after two kind of it's nice to end on a great positive note. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 for family friendliness. Essentially, we have planes that live in this anthropomorphized world of cars. It's the same world. Talking trains, talking planes, talking cars, talking vehicles. But this time it concentrates on Dusty Crophopper. He's a plane that sprays fertilizers on fields, but he longs to be so much more. In fact, he longs to fly up with the turboprops in this race around the world. But he's not sleek, he's not superpowered, doesn't look like he has much of a chance, and especially because he's afraid of heights. How in the world could he overcome that fear? A lot of great messages here, and just the missteps are very minor, a little bit of toilet humor, a few other minor issues, but nothing that families can't navigate. A solid thumbs up for the family on this one with Planes.
All right, a plane afraid of heights. I like it. Thanks a lot, Bob.
Okay, we'll talk next week.
Up next, they're the bottom of the barrel, bullies, drug addicts, and killers, but they're not outcasts. They're guests of honor. We'll take you inside the Refuge when we come back.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Some children are apparently so wild, so hopeless, it seems like even the church can rarely reach them.
Yeah, but one Pennsylvania pastor has found spectacular success connecting with these tough teens. Paul Strand traveled to Altoona to find just how he does.
Young Pastor Micah Marshall goes after the very kids who scare some churches.
Jesus hung with the least of these, you know, and they were all the ones that were at the bottom of the barrel. And so that's a lot of times my wife and I, that's where we like to do our ministry, and we love the unlovable, love to touch the untouchable, and just be around those that need Jesus.
Take Sinclair Rogers, who gained some national attention after a video of her viciously beating a girl went viral.
She ended up with a minor concussion, some teeth were missing, black eyes, and a broken nose. Back then I thought it was pretty cool.
But that anger seeped away as she began attending Pastor Micah's Tuesday gathering called the Refuge. There she found God and his transforming power.
Like now I'm always smiling, and like everyone's like, why are you always so happy? And I'm like, I don't know, I love Jesus. And
the old Sinclair partied hard. Now the new Sinclair prefers wild worship.
we like have our own parties, but it's not like sin parties.
One reason the Refuge has become a big hit centers on love and acceptance, not judgment, of even hardcore cases.
We open it up to pretty much anybody of any lifestyle. We have a lot of homosexuals, a lot of crack addicts or drug addicts, a lot of kids that smoke a lot of weed, young moms, and we kind of targeted kids that don't fit in anywhere else.
This isn't to approve of their wayward lifestyles or choices, but to give God plenty of room to minister.
When I first came here, I just really prayed, okay, God, what do you want me to do? And he said, you go out and get them and let the Holy Spirit do the rest.
He rounded up members of his church to drive its buses into Altoona's toughest areas and seek out the lost. What began as a couple of dozen teens coming to his church blossomed into around 200.
God named this place the Refuge for a reason. It's so that they could come here and feel safe and secure and know that God loves them and people love them.
They've witnessed faith in action, like when R.J. Ott faced emergency surgery because of a chest infection that might kill him. Everyone at the Refuge, including the non-believers, prayed over RJ for healing.
They went in to see if there was an infection there before they started the procedure, and nothing was there. When my doctor went in to clear everything out, he couldn't find anything. And even the doctor said that, you know, this was a miracle that had happened.
While the worship may be loud and wild, Pastor Micah also throws in large doses of Bible teaching. It's led to tremendous results. One example, the embracing of forgiveness. Jesse and Matt McElhaney watched as drug overdoses took both their mom and dad. Then the day after Christmas, Jesse's best friend Sean was goofing around with a gun and accidentally shot Jesse to death.
I didn't check to see if it was loaded because I just was positive that it was unloaded, and I was just putting it to his head and I was trying to get him to wake up, and it just fired and that was it.
He kept saying, I shot him, I accidentally shot Jesse, I'm so sorry. And
Matt says if he didn't know God, this tragedy might have killed him too.
I probably would have taken my own life.
Sean says he couldn't forgive himself, much less expect it from Matt.
If the shoes were on the other feet, I don't know how I would react.
Matt called those days after Jesse's death his darkest, but he finally made a crucial decision.
I'm going to put all my full-hearted faith into God.
That gave him the love and power to totally forgive his own brother's killer.
Forgiveness is the absolute key, and that's why I'm still, best friends and best buds with this kid.
That's the kind of witness that drew Abby Taylor. She was a depressed, suicidal teen.
There were a few times that I came within inches of ending it.
But the love and the Lord she's found at the Refuge have blown all that away.
It gives me a lot of hope that it doesn't matter if I screw up, because these people are never going to turn on me. That even if I were to, get all hopped up on drugs or whatever, they're not going to be like, ew, you're dirty, get away. They'll be like, dude, come on, let's get you clean, let's get you back to it.
With its atmosphere of open-armed acceptance, the Refuge seems to be suggesting if you'll just let kids be who they are, they're going to end up being who God wants them to be. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Altoona, Pennsylvania.
It's the love, Ephraim, that keeps these kids coming back.
Love
That's what
the
they're searching
unlovable.
for.
I love that wild worship.
That's right.
We
love
could
it.
all use that.
Jesus is right there.
You got it. We'll be right back.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new Gripco, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and Gripco grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of Gripco. You can get the amazing Gripco with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete Gripco systems for just $14.95.
To order Gripco for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripco.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Finally today, CBN Ukraine recently launched a website to help people free themselves from pornography addiction.
AntipornoTV is a Russian-language site that gives a biblical view on sex. It also shares testimonies. The site has recorded 400,000 visitors, and more than 300 people have used the anonymous online ministry service. Over 1 month, ads for the site were seen by more than 7.5 million internet users on more than 1,000 pornography sites.
What a good thing that needs to happen.
Bringing light to dark places.
Definitely. Well, that's going to do it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And take the time to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you join us again right here next time. Have a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley. Call
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.